Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Just Code It with Sarthak. We are back with the part 2 of the video with Soumya Agarwal. In this podcast, we have already discussed a lot of things about UX designing, what is UX designing, how can you become a UX designer, what are the different basic nitty-gritties of that, and please check out part 1 of that video to get more information on that. In this video, we will be discussing more about the typical interview process, how you can apply, how to make your own portfolio, what all depends in this interviews, what are kind of questions are asked, what are case study round, what are different problems that you can expect, and how to solve these questions with the ease, and how she has been up to maintain all these things. We will also know about things what she's been up to, what are her projects, and how can you can do things that can make you a good UX designer. So without further ado, let's start with the video. Moving on to the next part of it, what would be, I would say, a typical interview process would look like, or would be the hiring process look like from a scratch, like maybe since applying to the end of getting the offer letter and something like that. If you can shed some light on it, maybe from the experience of Cognizant and Oracle.
Sure. Before we
Mhm,
begin, I also want to mention about usability testing,
mhm,
which is also part of the process. And
mhm,
if you usually in a product-based company, a lot of times you have the opportunity of doing usability testing as well.
mhm,
So in that again, it's very similar to research.
mhm,
Now, the usability testing is something you do once you've started creating the product or you've created the product. How well it is
mhm.
coming out. Sometimes
Okay.
you have in-house users because the product is yours, the company's product. So you have the
Mhm,
users in-house. So you
mhm.
can, do the usability testing with them. You have UT labs. That's also a
Right.
part of the process that I was mentioning. I forgot to mention about it.
Mhm,
And moving ahead with the interview questions or interview. So basically, any organization mostly the first thing that they see is your portfolio, your resume. I
mhm,
would recommend having a one page resume.
mhm,
Do not have that's a summary, right? So you don't have to have a CV is one which is a very detailed version of your resume. So
mhm,
in when you look for a UX design position, instead of a CV, they want a pictorial representation of your work, what kind of work you've done. So a portfolio is important, which will have a
mhm,
detailed version of whatever you've done so far. And
mhm,
a resume should be a one page summary of whatever you have done. Whatever, if you've done any certification, try to put a picture out there, makes it more
mhm.
realistic. And so that's the first thing in any interview that you do.
Okay.
And always have a portfolio link, which is public, so that you don't have to share a heavy file every time to these
Mhm,
different people. It's very convenient when you have a link. It's very convenient for anyone viewing it. So that's one suggestion. Once the
mhm,
screening is done, also please make sure when you are applying for a job or when you have been offered an opportunity, go through the JD, the job description.
mhm.
They will mention what are their expectations. Are
Right.
they expecting a lot of research? Are they expecting you to do a lot of wireframing? They'll be mentioning everything very clearly.
Mhm,
So make sure it aligns to what you want in a job, firstly.
mhm.
Secondly, it aligns with your resume and portfolio also.
Okay. Makes sense.
If they are looking for someone who's worked a lot in the banking industry, then it should have something. If you've not worked in the banking industry, it's okay, but it should have something that resonates with that JD. So
Definitely.
every
Mhm,
time you're applying for a different job, make sure your portfolio is resonating with it.
mhm,
It's not completely out of that. Otherwise, there's no point. It's just waste of time because they're going to screen it and it'll get off or it
mhm.
won't get selected. That doesn't mean you are not good. It's just that they for that position, that's not the right person according to them.
Okay.
So sometimes when you even if you are good for it, just because of the portfolio, the resume, you
Mhm,
might get out. Okay, so that's the first thing. Second is usually the first time there's this HR round that happens in which the HR will ask your expectations, what have you done. So basically nowadays they do a screening on call as well, not just with your resume and portfolio. Once that portfolio and resume is done, the HR makes sure that whatever you've mentioned is correct or not.
mhm.
Because sometimes when there are big companies, the people interviewing you do not want to waste their time at all. So they
Right.
want to be very sure with the candidate, whoever is coming in for the interview is right for this position.
Okay.
So again, the HR round will be very cool round, very, it will be more of understanding what you've done, what you want to do. Are you interested for this role or
Mm-hmm.
anything like that? And your salary expectations and all that.
Okay.
After that, they'll schedule your first round.
Mm-hmm.
Basically happens mostly with the, depends from company to company. So usually it's with the, someone who's maybe the hiring manager.
Okay.
The big companies, the first round is with the hiring manager, or it is in the end with the hiring manager.
Mm-hmm.
Now sometimes they take it first because this person is going to actually have you for the team, so they should be okay with you first, and then they should, once they are okay, then
Mm-hmm.
it should go ahead with other people who are going to work with you.
Right.
So majorly the first one is with the hiring manager. If that person is happy with your interview, it will be mostly a technical round, as in they'll try to test your process, what is your UX process, and
Mm-hmm.
they might give you a small task on spot, and see
Okay.
how are you approaching it.
Mm-hmm.
That okay, I have this, I water my plants every day, and I forget to water them.
Mm-hmm.
What to do, how would you solve this problem?
Okay.
So how do you approach to this in that, the time you're talking to them is what they try to mark you on.
Mm-hmm.
And once they have decided, it goes ahead. Usually second is again, so sometimes they have a design assignment,
Mm-hmm.
to work on. But
Okay.
what's happening is, when it's offline, people are creating, uh, asking someone else to create for them, and then sharing it, and it gets difficult for them to really understand if this person is fit for the opportunity. So
Mm-hmm.
today what they've started doing is that either they give you, if they're giving the assignment, after the assignment they're going to ask you, they have a session with you, and they're going to ask you questions based on that assignment,
Okay.
which will
Mm-hmm.
tell them if you've done it or not, and what was your process.
Okay.
That happens otherwise also, but sometimes the UI part of it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't get tested well in that case.
Yeah.
Sometimes the opportunity is also for someone who's very good with UI also.
Okay.
So yeah, so that is one way. But
Mm-hmm.
they'll give you design assignment and ask you questions based on that. Now, what is the format of the design assignment? Is usually a problem statement will be given to you. You
Mm-hmm.
have to have certain assumptions, intelligent assumptions. Of course, you cannot do the research in 1 day or 2 hours. So
Right.
I would suggest you should make intelligent assumptions as per you, and
Mm.
mention those assumptions, that these are
Okay.
my assumptions. On the basis of this, the following solution is prepared by me.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can define the problem statement, your strategy, and then your do create a persona.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe if a task flow or a scenario analysis is required, mention that. And
Mm-hmm.
then create 4 screens, important screens, and
Okay.
explain them if possible.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you've created a paper wireframe in detail, a
Mm-hmm.
nice clean paper wireframe, and you do not have the time to create a visual design, I
Mm-hmm.
think usually it's okay, but
Okay.
totally depends on different organizations. The
Mm-hmm.
second way of interviewing today is that they will ask you to show a case study. If you
Okay.
are like 3-4 years experienced, they'll
Mm-hmm.
ask you to show a detailed case study of any of your recent projects.
Mm-hmm.
You have to talk from the beginning till the end about that case study that you have done. What
Okay.
was your role? What did you do? What
Mm-hmm.
was the problem? How did you achieve the solution? How is the
Mm-hmm.
solution better than the one which was existing? Those kind of questions.
Okay.
So that is another way of interviewing. And
Mm-hmm.
when they're doing this, if it is an assignment or if it is a your case study, there'll be a panel. There'll be panelists, and usually there are like 8 to 9 panelists.
Okay.
Sometimes what they do is that they'll have all the panelists in the first round,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll give you the time to explain yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have one round with each of the panelists separately, half an hour round,
Okay.
in which they'll ask their questions.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one way. uh, the other way is that while you were uh, sharing your case study, in that
Mm-hmm.
case study only, whoever panelist was there, they'll ask you questions then and there, like that. In that session will get extended to 4-5 hours.
Okay.
Can happen. 4-5 hours happened offline with me, but I think online it will not stretch more than 2 to 2.5 hours.
Okay.
So just because of online, they start doing this, that the first round they'll do online, and they'll give you the time to tell, and then they will mark, and then half an hour with each of them, so that
Each of
not
the
everyone
panelists.
can. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the way they do it. So, and all these people majorly in different companies are going to work with you.
Mm-hmm.
So today it's not that who is interviewing you is not even associated to you in any way. Sometimes this used to happen earlier. People who are interviewing you are not even
Mm-hmm.
going to, you're not even going to even work with them.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the point, right? So it's an opportunity for you also to understand that how good is the team, how you
Right.
feeling comfortable with them right now, because you're
Mm-hmm.
also going to work in that organization. It is very important that you also feel like going there.
Right.
So it's a very good way to explore the opportunities. So,
Mm-hmm.
and then after that, then I think final round is usually if you get selected with all the panelists, luckily you get through everything. The
Yeah.
final is with the design head, that is maybe could be a director, could
Mm-hmm.
be usually it's someone who's very big, director level design head,
Okay.
someone who's heading the entire design team globally.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll have half an hour catch up with them.
Okay.
Usually that is like kind of that you're already through, and it's
Mm-hmm.
a but still that's a very important round because
Yeah.
you need to, yeah. And once that is done, then you have the final round. HR would call you, tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Usually the big companies, they also give you very good detailed feedback, with every round, that this was good, this was not good, this was nice,
Mm-hmm.
this was not. And also, if you're giving interviews, also I've seen some organizations are very clear that this is what we want to know. No, tell us this, tell us that. That's the best
Mm-hmm.
interview, which they are
Yeah.
telling you this is what you're expecting.
Right.
Sometimes what happens, they won't tell you what they're expecting. You are open to share whatever you want to share. In that case,
Mm-hmm.
you get a little, you might get carried away with the time and everything, and you might just keep on talking,
Mm-hmm.
and they would not get what they wanted to ask, and you would not be able to give your best. So
Okay.
these are the different experiences that I have had so far,
Mm-hmm.
and I hope it helps people listening to this.
Yeah, I think makes sense. So I think it has
A
like
lot of
the process is very rigorous, and it's like quite interesting. Like I have never known that you have to be like perform these case studies and these things just to clear
So
for a UX
actually,
position.
I'd like to add something here is that
Mm-hmm.
it happens. Different experiences happen at different level. At a beginner level, you might not have to go through the same kind of process. At a
Mm-hmm.
beginner level, it might be a little different. That you show your portfolio, and then they give you an assignment, and then they ask you
Mm-hmm.
questions on the assignment. But whatever it is, even if it is a case study or an assignment, questions will
Mm-hmm.
be in that. They will ask you, why did you do this?
Right.
Why do you feel this was important? Okay, if this was not the scenario, if this would have been the scenario, what would you do?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, they're going to test your approach of taking up a problem and how do you
Mm-hmm.
solve it.
Right.
And of course, you do not have the solution of every problem in this world. It's just that they
Mm-hmm.
want to see how do you approach it.
Okay.
You may not give the right answer at that point, but
Mm-hmm.
how did you approach the problem is what they see mostly.
Okay.
And UX is not just about beautiful UIs.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times this happens. People think if the design is looking very beautiful, everything alignment and everything is very good, that means you're a very good UX designer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's all about the process. How much
Okay.
did you think about the user? That if I'm designing an ATM machine for a rural area and for an urban area, how
Mm-hmm.
different am I thinking? Can I decrease the number of steps in the rural area and increase the number of steps in the urban area, or decrease it in the urban and uh, increase it in the rural area,
Okay.
depending on their demographics, psychographics? So
Mm-hmm.
these things are, really test your user experience journey.
Okay.
And of course, it'll be very different for different roles. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
for whatever you're being interviewed. User experience design is everywhere. So maybe you are being interviewed for a bank, maybe you're being interviewed for an MNC, maybe
Mm-hmm.
for a startup, maybe for an e-commerce company. So
Mm-hmm.
each of these have a very different experience. So you need to be prepared in different ways, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally makes sense. Uh, And an interesting thing that I gather from it that lot of the initial part of it also like the responsibility lies on your portfolio, and you have to have a good portfolio just to make it to make it to the cut. So, what would be your discussion? Like, what if you can give me a good idea what a portfolio is like and how to make a good portfolio, what it should have or it should not have?
That's a very good question, and I've taken a lot of sessions on that.
Mm-hmm,
So basically, it should have initially an introduction about you.
mm-hmm,
Then the what kind of responsibility. If you are an experienced person already, if you've worked in the industry for 2 3 years, then what have been your responsibilities? What are your
mm-hmm.
strengths?
Okay.
Um, and of course, the most important thing in any portfolio is the process. You
Mm-hmm,
should be mentioning the process that you follow as a UX designer,
mm-hmm,
and then you are choosing to showcase 3 projects. You should
mm-hmm.
be able to show that I followed this process in these 3 projects.
Okay.
This was the problem statement, these were the personas, any
Mm-hmm,
deliverables that you created for that project.
mm-hmm.
You should be putting them up there. Of course, a lot of times there are legal constraints in which you cannot put the wireframe. So just pick up 2 screens which are very important from the design, and
Mm-hmm.
remove the brand of the company from there, and
Okay.
make it a very general design. Like, it should not, there won't be any legal problems there. You're not putting the
Mm-hmm,
company there. You can just make it a very general looking wireframe. But
mm-hmm.
what matters there is what process did you follow, what was the
Okay.
problem.
Mm-hmm,
And so yeah, one approach is that you pick one project and you show
mm-hmm.
the entire process how you applied on that one project.
Okay.
The other is, if you have done a lot of projects, you can show different 3 4 projects,
Mm-hmm,
glimpses of the wireframes,
mm-hmm,
and explaining the wireframes, what was the problem statement, what was your responsibility, what did you do in that.
mm-hmm,
And then you also put in some, if you have some pictures of, if you did a user research, then you must have some pictures of, maybe you did a card sorting. So
mm-hmm.
always click those things and put it up there.
Okay.
And basically, you should be able to express what you do in the process of UX.
Mm-hmm,
And for freshers, if you do not have anything, you're just like starting a portfolio and you don't know what to do, self-initiated projects.
okay.
Just pick up any product that you feel you want to do and you want to recreate the experience for.
Mm-hmm,
You do not have to create the entire app again.
mm-hmm,
Maybe let's suppose I use Uber and I've been observing that I can add a sleep test in that. Just an example.
mm-hmm.
I feel a sleep test for the drivers so that they do not sleep while driving and people are safe.
Okay. Mm-hmm,
So in the existing experience of Uber, I add that little part,
mm-hmm,
and I show it in my entire portfolio that this is about Uber. I'm a freelancer right now, not
mm-hmm,
working anywhere. Or I just
mm-hmm,
started, or I'm a graduate, and I was going through this, so I use Uber a lot. And one day I was just thinking, background story,
mm-hmm.
and I was thinking about this, so I thought, why not recreate this experience with whatever knowledge I have. So I started doing it, started doing my research, started talking to people.
Mm-hmm.
These were my users, I interviewed them, this was my quantitative research, this was my qualitative research. After doing all of this, this is the
Mm-hmm.
problem that I'm solving. And then you start with the problem statement, then you create your personas, then you explain the scenario, then you create the task flow, and then you create the screen flow. And that's how you self-initiated a project. Nothing is
Okay.
stopping you from creating a portfolio. It's not that you have to work somewhere to create a portfolio.
Mm-hmm,
Also, the best practice to have a good hand on UI is that take
mm-hmm.
screenshots of your favorite applications,
Mm-hmm.
put them in the tool, and replicate them. you
Okay.
know Put them on the left, put the picture on the left, and on the right hand side try to replicate that picture using the tool.
Okay.
That's how you will learn how to create a box or a rectangle or a carousel or a scroll,
Mm-hmm.
and you will really like it. And that's the best way to learn UI, I feel.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, those are for a portfolio.
Yeah, a quick follow-up on that. It could be a noob question. So, what is the place that you make these portfolios, or like where you showcase these portfolios, or is it online thing or is it offline thing? Or like, how do you show this?
Initially, I started with Behance, but then I was working with MNCs and we had a lot of legal constraints. So I have only
Mm-hmm.
put up some self-initiated projects there and some of my artwork. Initially, when I began,
Mm-hmm.
I used to. I also paint. I'm an abstract artist. So initially, when I also used to love doing logos. I had no
Mm-hmm.
formal training in making logos, but I don't know. I just like doing it, and I did it for a couple of organizations. So I used to
Mm-hmm.
put that over there. Other than
Mm-hmm.
that, you can use XD to create a portfolio. You can
Okay.
use Figma.
Mm-hmm.
All these wireframing tools also you can use to create a portfolio because they can convert your file into a PDF format.
Okay.
And you can like I have always used a PPT
Mm-hmm.
because I keep it in the presentation mode while presenting it on, especially when we are giving online interviews. So
Mm-hmm.
it's very convenient. PDF sometimes there are certain issues which you cannot. PDF is good when you're sending it across. Have
Mm-hmm.
clickable links in it. You have a wireframe link. Just put a clickable link over there. User people viewing it can just quickly click on it and see your wireframe. See,
Right.
again, it's an experience you're sharing with someone. So
Right.
creating a portfolio is also an experience, that how
Mm-hmm.
easy I'm making for the other person to view my work.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I'm adding different links to it that are important. I'm putting it on a drive so that they don't have to download it.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping these things in mind. And PPT, I always create a PPT and a PDF.
Mm-hmm.
PPT when there are interviews happening online and I have to present it, so I present it in the PPT mode, and if I have to send it across, I send it across in a PDF format.
Okay.
And Behance is good. You should, if you are if you've been working with organizations where they have no problem in putting up your work there, and or you can really remove the branding and update it online. Behance and Dribble are places where you can create you should at least have a profile there
Okay.
as a UX designer. So I have a profile in Behance, but it's not updated. I do not
Mm-hmm.
update it because I update my offline portfolio, and I use that only because a lot of
Okay.
times also people sometimes feel that their ideas may, they sometimes feel reluctant of putting their ideas publicly,
Mm-hmm.
entire case study. But sometimes what happens is people viewing your publicly your ideas might reach out to you. That
Mm-hmm.
happened with me. I had
Yeah.
put up one case study regarding my first project that I did as a self-initiated project, and someone reached out to me that we really like this idea. Would you like to
Mm-hmm.
work on this? Unfortunately, we did not.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so different things can happen. Depends what you would like to do as a person. Both are
Mm-hmm.
possible and both are good. Also, stay active and very updated on LinkedIn. It's a
Mm-hmm.
great platform today to know about the opportunities, to have a connection, to to know more about UX also.
Mm-hmm.
And Medium is a wonderful place. You can always write over there whatever you've learned.
Mm-hmm.
It's been long on my list to write something on Medium, but again, a very good place to learn things. And even if
Certainly.
you want to you can put up your stuff there. You can even put your portfolio there, like I did a case study, and you can put it on
Mm-hmm.
Medium and share that Medium link with different organizations you're applying for. That's also a way
Okay.
of creating. That's your work you are displaying. Also, you can
Mm-hmm.
create your own website. People today, they create their own website and share the link of the website as a
Mm-hmm.
portfolio. So these are the
Okay.
different ways. Any way that you feel is convenient for the other person to see your work is okay. It should be convenient. It should not be that it's not working, the link is not working, the file is too big,
Mm-hmm.
or it does not have content that is, when it is a public thing, it will be a very general portfolio. But
Mm-hmm.
whenever you're applying for a different organization, as I said, you should update it as per the JD.
Okay.
So that is more convenient when you have a offline portfolio and you
Mm-hmm.
upload it on the drive and send it across.
Okay. Makes sense. Totally. Yeah. I think thank you so much for sharing this information. My last and final question would be around if you have any suggestions or anything to keep in mind, or how to be like patient enough to bear the entire rigorous interview process. If you have any thoughts on that, uh, and we will be wrapping up. Hmm.
Sure, I would just suggest that my personal experience, whenever I've panicked, whenever I've been very nervous, I've spoiled it.
Hmm.
So I would say just take it up as like any interview, just take it up as like an opportunity to just show what you know. So
Mhm.
just try to be very comfortable. Today you're giving it offline. I mean offline. Sorry, not offline. You're giving it online. So
Mhm.
you're in your own space.
Right.
You're not. where we had to go to different offices, the environment would be a little different for us. We might
Mm-hmm.
be shivering, and the other person would be seeing it. Today,
Correct.
you can have your own space, and and always please be on a video. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
times people take it very lightly and they'll give it on an audio. Connections
Mm-hmm.
don't happen on audio. It's something where, if you are going for an interview and you're not putting your video on, that itself is a very um it's hampering the experience.
Right. It
Even
says a
if
lot
the
of things about you. Yeah.
it says a lot of things about you. Even if the interviewer is not switching on the video, it's fine. You
Mm-hmm.
yourself be ready, completely ready for the interview. You
Mm-hmm.
should be, in fact, excited. That and give whatever opportunity comes, go just give the interview. You never know
Mm-hmm.
what really aligns with your life, or what
Right.
sometimes you're not looking for it, and something's what you're looking for. You just go behind it, and something which you're not looking for comes to you, and you do not take it, might not be good for you. So I would
Mm-hmm.
say that initially, especially when you're freshers, do not
Mm-hmm.
reject an opportunity. Every interview is an opportunity to learn
Yeah.
something also. You
Mm-hmm.
will know what kind of questions they ask. You'll get prepared. It's kind of a rehearsal for you. If you Let's suppose you are being interviewed by A, B, C, and D, and you want to go for D only. So do
Mm-hmm.
not wait for just D and reject the interview opportunities with A, B, C. Give the
Mm-hmm.
interviews there also with the same passion, with the same excitement, and trust me, it will definitely help you reach at great places. I think it's an experience to to go through the interview process always. So
True.
that's one suggestion I would give. Always be excited.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do it half-heartedly. Do it full-heartedly, whatever you're doing. If you're
Mm-hmm.
a UX person, if you're a technical person, if you're an artist, if you're a
Mm-hmm.
writer, if you're a traveler, whatever you're doing, just put your heart and soul into it.
Mm-hmm.
And when if you're switching from something to UX, you might have questions. Is this the right thing? Should I do this? But
Mm-hmm.
once you've decided and still your questions are coming, just look back. Why did you decide it? Why did you come here? And
Mm-hmm.
just just keep doing. Slowly, 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 you will reach
Okay.
there, and keep learning. Never
Mm-hmm.
think that, okay, I've done this course. Now I'm a UX designer. I am very good at this. I don't need to learn anymore. Keep
Mm-hmm.
learning. Every day there'll be new things from different people.
Mm-hmm.
Keep learning. Keep yourselves updated,
Mm-hmm.
and just stay passionate, stay lively.
Yeah. Uh, Thanks a lot. Thank you so much for sharing this. And uh, like the things you mentioned are so true. You have to be exploring. You don't have to turn down any opportunity. Like I have been in interviews knowing for a fact that I might not even join this company, but going in with that same zeal also open up different like opportunities for you. Also, I have been to like there was a different connection with those interviews that I am still connected with them in LinkedIn. I follow them, and every interview happens to be a learning opportunity for me. I know about a different products. I know about their problem statement. There will be something, a new question that you have not even experienced so far. And
Yeah.
I can definitely say that if I have not done those interviews in the past, I might not have even cracked my current interview. Like I can definitely say that. So if I can definitely say that if you are going for ABCD and D is your dream company, definitely go for ABC. Uh, and at this stage of your life, whatever you're doing, stay focused on the learning part, explore the new things out there, find the thing that makes more like resonates with you, you're feeling passionate about. And coming back to you, thank you so much, Soumya, for taking out time and explaining us. I also got a lot of things to learn here. There was so much new things that were not even I'm aware about, and also gave me a glimpse about what a UX designer does. And it's so fun. It's so fun profile, and I definitely recommend all of you guys to check out her LinkedIn, Lisomia's profile. I will try to put all the links in the description box below. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for rescheduling this. Thank you for everything, and wish you all the best with
Mhm,
your future. You're doing a great job. This is great. Takes a
mhm,
lot of effort, a lot of energy to
mhm,
compile everything for so many people out there. So you're helping so many people. So great job and wish you all the best. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much. Yeah, and wish you the best to the for your future as well. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
So guys, with this we come to the end of this video part 2. I hope आपको ये podcast काफ़ी अच्छा लगा होगा. I believe that आपको ये काफ़ी ज़्यादा information मिली होगी UX designing in general के बारे में, how you can become a UI UX designer, what are the jobs and responsibilities, and how you can apply for a job or internship at a company, what are the details required for it, and what should be that one thing, or what should be these things that you can align with to become a good UX designer. सो अगर आपको वीडियो अच्छा लगा प्लीज़ लाइक करें, अपने दोस्तों का शेयर करें जो यूएक्स डिज़ाइनर बनना चाहते हैं, एंड डेफिनेटली सब्सक्राइब टू माय चैनल फॉर मोर सच वीडियोस. आई विल सी यू इन द नेक्स्ट वीडियो, एंड बिफोर एंडिंग दिस वीडियो लेट्स थैंक द सपोर्टर ऑफ दिस चैनल, न्यूटन स्कूल. सो गाइस, व्हाट इज न्यूटन स्कूल? न्यूटन स्कूल एक एडटेक स्टार्टअप है जहाँ पे यू कैन लर्न मोर अबाउट डिफरेंट टेक्नोलॉजीज आउट देयर. दे विल हेल्प यू गेट जॉब ऑफर फ्रॉम दीज टॉप टेक कंपनीज, एंड उनका एक बहुत ही अच्छा प्रोग्राम है जहाँ पे आपको ₹1 भी पे नहीं करना है जब तक आपके इन कंपनीज में जॉब नहीं लग जाता. दे हैव वेरी गुड ऑफरिंग्स विद दिस कोर्स, लाइव क्लासेस, इंडस्ट्रियल प्रोजेक्ट्स, मॉक इंटरव्यूज एंड पर्सनल मेंटरिंग. I will put the link in the description, and I suggest you all to check this out and explore their courses.